welcome to my channel, Among.stouts. If you're new here, my name is Samantha and I am a homeschooling stay-at-home mom of 4 kiddos. And in today's video, I just want to come on here and update you guys about our first 6 weeks of homeschool. I can't believe we have made it through the first 6 weeks. That went by really quickly. Today is currently Tuesday, October 5th. So we are in our 7th week, which is our break week. Since we are a CC family, we take a break every 6 weeks. And so technically this is our fall break, which is just 1 week. And then our winter break is a little bit longer than that. But anyways, we are in our fall break. So we are taking a 1 week long break, which is very necessary, much needed, and came at just the right time for us. I will say the last 2-ish weeks of our first 6 weeks were kind of, we were a little bit off track. Our schedule was different, and I'll talk to you guys about that as we go through this update. So first and foremost, the very first thing that I want to tell you guys about, which is one of the biggest changes that we made in our homeschool this year, and that was our schedule. And so I've talked about it a lot so far here on my channel for this school year about how we have switched over to a loop schedule, and it is working out fantastically. It is so amazing. I absolutely love having a loop schedule. I wish I would have done this last year because I think that I would have had a lot of saved sanity. But it has been really good. It's really nice to know that when we take breaks or when we're sick or whatever's going on, we aren't ever really getting behind because we just pick back up where we left off at. And then as far as planning goes, last year I was trying to plan out ahead of time what we were doing. So I would plan out like the first 6 weeks or whatever, and I would put it all in my planner for what each one of my kids was doing, what exactly we were going to be doing each day for morning time, and I have completely stopped doing that. So I wanted to share with you guys my main homeschool planner that I have, and this is something that I use for homeschool planning, basically life planning, everything that I need to plan out, appointments, grocery plans, grocery lists, meal plans, everything like that goes in this planner here. And this is my homeschool planner from Home and Haven. I have a video all about this planner that I can link for you guys in the card and down in the description. So this is kind of where I keep everything at on a daily basis. But then from Arrows and Applesauce, she sometime last year, or maybe it was at the beginning of the school year, I can't remember, released like a super simple lesson planner. And so I ended up getting that digital download because it's a free download on her website. I will link to it. So I got that and I printed out exactly how many pages I needed for the school year, and I just bound it myself. And so what I've been doing in here is just kind of reverse planning. So I have a space for morning time and then for each one of my kids. And then as we're going through our homeschool day, I just write down in here what we do after we do it. So then I'm not ever having to erase or cross out or change or any of that stuff that I was having to do last year because I was trying to plan ahead. So I have really been enjoying the reverse planning method of a homeschool planner. So this is super basic. It's a free digital download. I will link to it for you guys. But this has been really amazing for me, and I've absolutely been loving it. So this has been a probably my #1 resource that I could recommend to you guys for the first 6 weeks. I do have 4 favorite books from the first 6 weeks, but I already put out a video with that, so I will link that for you guys as well. Just be sure to check that out if you haven't already watched it. But again, this will be linked for you guys in the description. So that's kind of what I've been doing. Loop scheduling paired with reverse planning has completely been homeschool life changing for me. I hope that makes sense to you guys if you understand where I'm coming from. But yes, it has been wonderful. Okay, so we started off really strong. I will say the first 4 weeks of school were running extremely smoothly, and then the last 2 weeks, one of those weeks we had sickness go through our household. So My oldest son, he got the sickest for the longest. He was sick for about 2 weeks. And then I was sick for a couple days. And then a couple of my kids were sick for a couple days. And so that week we kind of just took things slow. Okay, so I talked to you guys about starting off strong. Loop schedule's going great. Reverse planning is new to me, but it is also working out wonderfully. I think the two paired together is fantastic. So if you have never tried reverse planning or loop scheduling and you're interested, I would highly recommend it. Again, this is our first year. This is my first year doing our homeschool that way, and I've only done 6 weeks so far. But I am truly enjoying it and loving it so much better. I feel like a lot of my burnout and headaches that I had from last school year, even in the first 6 weeks, I can link that video for you guys to check out. But I feel like a lot of the changes that I made as far as scheduling and planning go have really worked out wonderfully for me in that way. Okay. One of the changes that I'm going to be making for my kiddos is cutting out some of the CC work pages that we were doing. So I only printed off the first 6 weeks of foundations work from the CC Connected, as well as the first 6 weeks from the essentials work on CC Connected. And we ended up not even really getting into that many of the sheets for foundation. So I have a lot of those left over that I'm going to end up having to recycle. And then the worksheets work out, the essentials worksheets work out really well for my son. He gets it. He goes through them really quickly. I noticed that's not the same for my daughter. So since she's only a first year in essentials, I think I'm going to cut back on hers and only keep the spelling and vocabulary, and then only do like a sentence or two of diagramming with her on our own, and just cut out the rest of the weekly essentials work for her. So that's one change we're making. And I did put out a video. If you guys haven't seen it, again, I will link that for you guys here in case you missed out. But I did a video of just taking you guys along a homeschool, the independent schedule part of my second grader's day. And so I want to touch on her really quickly. So my second grader absolutely loves the Good and the Beautiful math. She's doing the math level 2. And she is really enjoying it. We have hit a pause in it for right now because it's going on to other concepts that she hasn't quite touched on quite yet. And that's specifically because we did Math UC last year, which is a mastery-based approach. So while we have some other transitions going on right now in our life, and I will talk to you guys about that a little bit later. But while we're in this transition that we're in, I think we have started working back on Math UC. So we started her back up in Math UC beta, and we're just going to work through those because it is still addition. Again, addition and subtraction, very mastery based. She is doing double digit addition right now, and that's something that she can do pretty independently, and then it's teaching new concepts as she goes. So that is one that is really easy for us to keep up with and manage right now while we're in this transition before we move back to her the Good and the Beautiful math. What I kind of noticed is that because it's more of a spiral approach, it's hitting on some things that she hasn't quite touched on yet. So I'm going to really have to spend spend a lot of extra time in those lessons with her, and introducing her to those concepts and working through them with her, and just being able to have more dedicated time to that, which I just don't have right now. So once we are resettled and things like that, we'll get back into that and spend the necessary time that it needs. But for right now, she loves Math 2 from the Good and the Beautiful, but we have made a switch and we're currently working through some lessons in Math UC beta. Okay, so last year she did language lessons for living education level 1, and then she did the second half of level K, because her kindergarten year she did the first half of level K, and then she did simply K for master books. So this year she's only got, we're only working through the Good and the Beautiful level 1 currently, and she's really loving that. I'm seeing a lot of growth from her. And that brings me to another change that we're making. I had considered not doing the reading parts of the Good and the Beautiful and just keeping her going through all about reading. But I noticed that the Good and the Beautiful reading portions are just as effective as All About Reading, and they take less time because it's all incorporated throughout the one curriculum book. So we did All About Reading a couple of times, I think a couple of rotations in her loop, and then we just stopped hitting it because she was just getting all of the phonics and reading practice that she needed from the Good and the Beautiful. So that is something that we are no longer using, is All About Reading, and we are just doing all of the components of the Good and the Beautiful language arts, which she's loving. So now on to my daughter in the 4th grade, and if you guys see me looking down, it's because I have my handy notes here. A lot of times when I don't make notes, I miss things, and honestly, when I make notes, I still miss things. Okay, so for my daughter, who is in the 4th grade, we transitioned her this year from teaching textbooks to the Good and the Beautiful Math 4, and that has been wonderful. So she originally was doing, so this is what she's been through. All of my kids have kind of been through these. We started off doing math lessons for a living education. My kids didn't really like the story-based approach to that, so after that I moved on to Math UC, and my kids really enjoyed that. Last year I got really overwhelmed, and like I already mentioned, I had some burnout. So I don't know, midway through the year, or maybe a little sooner than midway through the year, almost midway through the year, I switched my older 2 kids to teaching textbooks, which I absolutely love. I still, my oldest son still uses and loves teaching textbooks. So teaching textbooks does work really well. There was just a few things with her and just math that I wanted to give teaching textbooks math a chance to see if it was something that she could connect with, and it absolutely has been. She really enjoys scanning the QR code on the iPad, going and watching her lesson, following along with the problem of the lesson that she's doing, and then doing the work. I feel like she's really connecting to their method of teaching, and how the course book is set up and how the curriculum is. She's really enjoying the mental math book, because mental math has been a struggle of hers, and I actually really like how they are doing the memory for multiplication, which is a little bit different from some other curriculum. So it has been really working out for her as well, and she's actually really been enjoying it. And because my oldest still does teaching textbooks, and I do math alongside my 2nd grader, it's really quick and easy for me to grade her work. So I initially wanted both my kids online for math because I wanted to be hands-off with grading. But since it's really only her that I'm grading, and I can do it really quickly because it's not a ton of pages or a ton of problems or anything like that, it's been working out really nicely. So she's really enjoying their math. She also made the transition to the Good and the Beautiful language arts this year from language lessons for living education, and again, she's really loving that. It works out. It does work really well paired with a kiddo who's doing CC Essentials. So because she's enjoying that more than the weekly essentials work, as I already mentioned, I'm cutting down some of her essentials work and just gonna focus more on her the Good and the Beautiful, with her like having some chart practice, spelling practice, and things like that with essentials. Oh, and not to mention her IEW, which is a part of essentials. And I have been singing IEW's praises since last year whenever I started doing it with my son, and I was really hopeful that it would work really well for my daughter, but kind of also on the fence about if it would, because they are both so different in their I mean, obviously they're 2 different people, but their personalities are different. The way that they learn, the things that they enjoy, everything about them, they are polar opposites. But IEW is working out wonderfully for my daughter. It's working just as great for her as it did for my son. And that is a huge, huge win for me, because having a curriculum that works out for both of them, because they are so different, doesn't happen very often. So because I love IEW so much, I'm really glad and really thankful that it's working out well for her. And so now on to my son. There isn't that much to update with him. One of the new things that we added to his curriculum this year are novel studies from Memoria Press. He's currently doing the Robin Hood book, and novel study, and he's actually really enjoying it. He's loving the story, and he's making great connections with the novel study. Reading comprehension and things like that have not always been his best interest, or have not always been something that he's done very well. Definitely a least of his likes, I should say, when it comes to curriculum is reading and reading comprehension. But he's really loving I think it helps that the book is really good, and then he's really been able to make such great connections with the novel studies. So if you're interested in novel studies for your kiddos, definitely check out the ones from Memory of Press. I really love the way that they are laid out. The questions that they ask are really engaging. They bring up great discussion between him and I. So we have really been loving that. Other than that, his schedule and his routine have been working out wonderfully. He enjoys the extra weekly essentials work that he does, and he does that paired with language lessons for living education, which he really enjoys. He's in level 6, so unfortunately that's their last level of that particular curriculum, which is unfortunate for him because he loves it so much, but it doesn't go into higher levels. So he is going through that, pushing through it. He loves it so much. He's still been doing teaching textbooks, and then he alternates teaching textbooks lessons with Math UC lessons. And that just seems to be working out really well for him. And so that's all I have as far as their curriculum, our homeschool routine and day, our schedule planning and things like that. The only other thing that I wanted to update you guys with a transition that we're having in our life, we actually just put our house up for sale yesterday, October 4th, and we got an offer this morning, Tuesday, October 5th. So hopefully by the end of this day, we have a few more showings to go through, and I would feel bad accepting an offer before those people actually came and saw our house. So we're going to let those showings run through and probably get back to the offer at the end of the night or tomorrow morning. And then we will have this house under contract. And that's really exciting because my husband and I found a property about 40 minutes north of where we currently live, so still outside of the San Antonio area, but it is a wonderful property in the hill country, actually right on and between some hills. We will have a beautiful view. We just went under contract on that property this past weekend, so we are really excited about that. It is 20 acres. The home is still a 4-bedroom home, but it's quite the downsize from what we currently have now. I think it's a little bit more than less than half the size of this. So we have about 2,800 square feet now, and it's going to be 1,700. So we are downsizing quite a bit, which is perfectly fine for us. Having a smaller house and being cozy with one another is perfectly fine because we're going to have lots and lots and lots of outdoor space being on 20 acres. So that is also one of the things that has had us out of routine lately, is just going through showings. We went and looked at quite a few different properties, and then also like getting an inspection done on the one that we are under contract for, prepping our house and getting our house on the market, and also going through showings. So I know that I have been quite absent here on YouTube, and that is probably going to continue for the rest of the month, just because closing on our house and on our new house will both be within the first 2 weeks of November. So we're going to be closing on these homes and then having to move and things like that. So I do have some content planned out and pre-filmed for y'all, but I think that I'm only going to be able to get up 2 videos a week for you guys, and I hope that you guys will still enjoy the videos that I have planned for you. And I'm so thankful to have you all here, to have y'all as a part of my community and on this homeschool journey, and at this point our whole life journey with us here. I really enjoy every single one of you. So as we go through this transition, I'm excited to bring you guys along, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this update. If you have any comments or questions, recommendations, always feel free to put those down in the comments for me. I always enjoy engaging with you guys down there. If you aren't already following me on Instagram, go ahead and follow me there. I've been a little bit quiet there also, just because of everything that's going on, but I am going to try to be more active since I know I'm going to have less content here on YouTube. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like. And if you aren't already subscribed, please go ahead and hit subscribe. I would love to have you here as a part of my community, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!